Scorpio Sky, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Zay, collectively known as SoCal Uncensored or
SCU! This is Catch, Hook, and Shoot, the worst podcast I've ever been on. Word.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Catch, Hook, and Shoot, the best podcast you never heard of. Today is Saturday, November the 7th, 2020. My name's Tom. I am your host. Getting the show out a day early today so I can get in my preview and predictions for AEW's pay-per-view Full Gear coming up tonight. First and foremost, want to thank everybody for watching, listening, and subscribing on YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts from. Thanks for following on social media on all platforms. You can find the show at Catch Hook Shoot. Head to patreon.com/catchhookshoot for all your bonus content, prowrestlingtees.com/catchhookshoot for all your t-shirt needs, and catchhookshoot.bigcartel.com for merchandise, t-shirts, hats, and stuff that you can't find on Pro Wrestling Tees. And if you ever want to shoot me an email, it's catchhookshoot@gmail.com. Before we get into the main part of the show here, I do want to make mention, last week I completely forgot to mention about the passing of Tracy Smothers on October the 28th. He was part of the tag team known as the Wild-Eyed Southern Boys, or the Young Pistols, from the early days of WCW, tag team with Steve Armstrong. What I remember him most for was being part of the original FBI and the original ECW with himself, Tommy Rich, Little Guido, Tony Mama Luke, the original full-blooded Italians from the original ECW. One of the great stables, I gotta say, in from the original ECW. So Tracy Smothers passed away last week, October the 28th. So rest in peace to Tracy Smothers. So let's get into the main part of the show here, kicking everything off like we always do with the match of the week. Alright, so this week's match of the week actually is coming from Ring of Honor, and it was the final match in the ROH Pure Championship Tournament, Jonathan Gresham versus Hot Sauce Tracy Williams. This match was the epitome of what the ROH Pure Championship was all about. Just a fantastic wrestling match between these two guys, both representing the same faction, the Foundation, and Jonathan Gresham was victorious. He is the new Ring of Honor Pure Champion. He's the one I predicted pretty much from the start that was going to take this tournament. I actually expected this final match to be Gresham and Jay Lethal, but that's not obviously not how it turned out. It was Gresham and Tracy Williams, and they put on a 15-minute just clinic. So if you have not seen this match, go to Ring of Honor's YouTube channel, find this match and watch it. If you are a fan of mat-based submission-style wrestling, you have to see this match. Just a fantastic, great, pure wrestling match from Ring of Honor. And congratulations to Jonathan Gresham, the new ROH Pure Champion. So let's keep rolling right along into the next segment here, my top 3 highlights of the week, and it's called the 3 Count. First up on the 3 Count this week from Monday Night Raw is the Firefly Funhouse. I gotta say, the Fiend and Alexa Bliss are my 2 absolute favorites on Monday Night Raw right now. I love the chemistry between Alexa and Bray Wyatt. I love the way the change that we've seen in Alexa Bliss. I talked about this before, the way that she has totally changed up her character and kind of taken on that same duality that Bray Wyatt has. One minute he's the happy, smiling, but still kind of sadistic kind of guy to, he flips that switch and becomes the Fiend. Same thing with Alexa Bliss and their, interactions on Firefly Funhouse. And now, the interactions between Bray and the puppets have always been entertaining. And now with Alexa and the puppets too, it's some of the best segments that WWE is putting out right now. Number 2 on the 3 count this week is the face-to-face between Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley on AEW Dynamite. I mean, these two guys are making this rivalry believable. They're making it very, very real. And, as a result of that, I cannot wait to see their match coming up at the pay-per-view later tonight. Number 3 on the 3 count comes from Friday Night Smackdown, and it was actually a backstage interview with Kayla Braxton and Jey Uso. Now, at the beginning of this segment, we saw Kevin Owens come up to Jey Uso while he was getting coffee and made a comment about, Jey kind of doing Roman's bidding, that kind of thing. That led to a match later on. But the part of this I really liked was Jey was doing the interview with Kayla, and Kayla was really kind of digging into him about just bowing down for Roman and kind of because Jey was talking about families forever, and Kayla made a comment like, oh yeah, it's forever unless you don't fall in line. Then Roman says you're out of the family, and she was just really, really digging into Jey Uso, and I was I liked it. I thought it was real good. And then you saw Paul Heyman come up and break up the interview, and because Jey didn't get permission from Roman to do the interview, and Kayla had a comment about that Paul's higher up on the totem pole than Jey is, and he's not even family. So just a really, really good backstage segment, and I'm wondering if this is going to lead to something with Kayla Braxton, possibly, with Naomi, because she's part of the family as well. So who knows? I mean, there's a lot of directions it could go, but I thought it was a really cool segment. So getting into the news and rumors for the week, Monday Night Raw, we had Randy Orton out to the ring. Alexa Bliss came out. We thought The Fiend was going to show up, and instead Drew McIntyre came out, attacked Randy Orton, left him laying. Then The Miz came running out trying to cash in his Money in the Bank, but McIntyre broke that up real quick, so there was no cash in, so Miz still has the briefcase. We saw Jeff Hardy defeat Elias in a guitar on a pole match. Anytime you get a match with something on a pole, it just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of makes me cringe. Anytime something's on a pole, it's just, I don't know. Those matches just have a bad reputation, I guess. Braun Strowman picked up a win in a triple threat match against Keith Lee and Sheamus to qualify for the men's Survivor Series team for Monday Night Raw. I already talked about the Firefly Funhouse segment. One thing I didn't mention was Alexa's trick, quote unquote, that she displayed for everybody with her tongue. It looked. If you're familiar with the wrestler Drago from AAA and from Lucha Underground, he does this thing where obviously it's not his real tongue, but he sticks it out on his way to the ring and then slurps it back into his mouth. And Alexa did something similar to that on the Firefly Funhouse, and it was just creepy but cool. So we saw the Hurt Business, Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander picked up a victory over the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, and the Hurt Business has made it known that they want the tag team title. So it looks like Shelton and Cedric are going to be the ones going for those titles against the New Day. Ricochet picked up a quick victory over Tucker, and Tucker came out with a little bit of a new look, kind of a generic look, and he, like I said, it was a very quick match. I'm, not sure what direction they're going to be going with Tucker. I'm not going to make a judgment based on this one match and say, oh, they're burying him, they're going to make him a jobber. I'm not going to make that assessment based on one match like so many people did online. But yeah, there just wasn't a whole lot of substance as far as Tucker. He didn't really get an entrance or anything like that. So we'll see what's going to happen. And then at the end of that match, we saw Retribution come out and just put a beating on both guys. So I'm still not 100% sure what's going on with Retribution. It seems like they've kind of stalled a little bit. They've yet to get an actual victory in a match. So I'm not sure where we're going with Retribution. Moving on to NXT, Dakota Kai defeated Ember Moon. A little bit of a surprise. I would have expected Ember to pick up that victory, because she's hot on her comeback to NXT. Kushida picked up a victory over Cameron Grimes. The story behind this one is Grimes is still kind of traumatized from his haunted house match Dexter Lumis at Halloween Havoc, and he tapped out just to get away from the referee, who he I guess thought was still a zombie or whatever it might be. We saw Pat McAfee and his crew come out again and put a beating on Drake Maverick and Killian Dane, which is kind of surprising. Killian Dane was always portrayed as kind of a monster, and now he's in this tag team with Maverick, and I got nothing against Drake Maverick, but it seems like they're I don't know, kind of making Dane into Dane and Maverick into a comedy act almost. So I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I think the whole point of it was, McAfee and Lorcan and Birch and Pete Dunne, coming out and just beating these guys down and, trash talking the Undisputed Era some more. Obviously, I'm sure Undisputed Era is going to come back at some point, and we're going to get that 4-on-4 match. I would think probably at the next TakeOver, more than likely, which I believe is coming up in December. Then Toni Storm picked up a victory over Shotzi Blackheart due to a distraction from Candice LeRae. Prior to the match, Shotzi had lost her tank, and she thought Toni Storm had done something to it. Turned out Candice LeRae stole it and had it out in the middle of a road somewhere and proceeded to run it over with a Humvee. So, and the Humvee was originally driven by the same person in that the Scream mask. So, guessing that's still supposed to be Indy Hartwell, more than likely. Once that person is unmasked, that's who I would assume it's going to be. But so Shotzi's tank was destroyed by Candice LeRae, so it looks like that's going to be the next rivalry in the women's division for Shotzi. We found out a little bit more about Xia Li and these letters that she's been receiving every week from BOA. Apparently they're letters from her family. Didn't get into detail as to what they're about, but she again told William Regal she has to have a match next week, and she wants to challenge Raquel Gonzalez. So that match is going to take place next week. And Tommaso Ciampa picked up a victory over Velveteen Dream, and obviously a great match with those two guys in the ring. And we found out next week that both the North American and Tag Team Championships are going to be defended on NXT. So that is shaping up to be a pretty good show already. Moving on to SmackDown, Sasha Banks managed to retain the SmackDown Women's title against Bayley, which is a big thing for Sasha because Bayley made mention of it last week. Sasha's never really had a problem winning titles. It's keeping them that has been the issue. So she did have a successful title defense against Bayley, so it will be Sasha taking on Asuka at Survivor Series. But at the end of that match, Carmella made her return to SmackDown and attack Sasha Banks at the top of the ramp. So looks like she could be the next contender for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I already talked about the backstage segment with Jey Uso and Kayla Braxton and Paul Heyman and Kevin Owens. That continued back to Roman Reigns' locker room with Heyman and Jey Uso standing outside. Heyman goes in, gets Roman. Roman kind of dresses down Jey Uso a little bit about not asking his permission to do an interview and things like that, and then gets on to Kevin Owens, disrespecting the family, and that led to a match at the end of the night between Owens and Jey Uso, which Jey Uso was victorious in that one after a headbutt to the groin. So some underhanded tactics used there by Jey Uso. We had Baron Corbin qualify for the Survivor Series by picking up a victory over Rey Mysterio due to some distractions by Seth Rollins, who attacked Dominic Mysterio outside the ring, and then Buddy Murphy and Aaliyah showed up, and the whole mess with the Mysterio family and Rollins and Murphy. But Corbin did advance to or qualify for the men's SmackDown Survivor Series team, as did Seth Rollins by picking up a victory over Otis. Was assisted in that victory by Buddy Murphy, of all people, who caused a distraction and allowed Rollins to pick up the win. So, Murphy was confronted backstage afterwards by Aaliyah Mysterio, asking him what the hell he was doing and this and that, and Murphy just basically said, "I need you to trust me, it's all for the greater good." So there's some kind of plot, whatever going on with Buddy Murphy and Seth Rollins. So I'm sure we'll find out how that's going to unfold in the next few weeks leading up to the Survivor Series. And also qualifying for the Survivor Series SmackDown team on the women's side was Ruby Riott. A little bit of a surprise, picked up a victory in a triple threat match against Natalya and Zelina. So like I said, a little bit of a surprise. Ruby Riott picked up that victory, but she did qualify for the women's Survivor Series team. Some miscellaneous WWE news. Rumor floating around the WWE is looking to sign Alex Zane from the independent circuit. And Alex Zane, one I've had the pleasure of calling some of his matches for Warrior Wrestling, and definitely a great signing if this is true. Alex has what's being billed as his final independent match this Sunday. So Alex Zane could be heading to WWE along with Benjamin Carter, like we talked about, I believe it was last week or a couple weeks ago. So, WWE picking up some top independent guys. So it'll be interesting to see how they fit in. I'm sure we won't see them on TV for a little while. But and when we do, hopefully it'll be on NXT. I don't think either one of them should be fast-tracked to the main roster because I think they'll just get lost in the shuffle. But on NXT, I think they would both excel, especially if in the cruiserweight division, if that's where they end up. So we'll have to see where Alex Zane and Benjamin Carter land with WWE. WWE also announced this week that Survivor Series would be The Undertaker's final farewell. So on the 30th anniversary of his WWE debut at Survivor Series, The Undertaker will be making an appearance at the Survivor Series on November the 22nd. So I can't wait to see that. For me, that's, I'm sure, going to be kind of emotional. So but yeah, it'll be great to see The Undertaker at an event. I'm not sure if he'll, come out in his full Undertaker regalia or if it'll be more along the lines of, Mark Calloway coming out. Who knows? But we will be seeing The Undertaker at the Survivor Series. Some New Japan news. They have announced the Super J Cup will be making its return on December the 12th. Competitors in that, Leo Rush, Chris Bay, Blake Christian, ACH, Clark Connors, El Phantasmo, TJP, and Ray Horace. So great lineup for the Super J Cup tournament. And also the best of the Super Juniors will be coming back as well. Competitors in that, Ishimori, El Desperado, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, I believe is how you say his name, Takahashi, Taguchi, Master Wado, Sho, Robbie Eagles, Bushi, and I believe the name is pronounced Douki, Douki. So some the junior heavyweights going to be front and center for New Japan coming up here in the next couple of months. Ring of Honor, we already talked about. Jonathan Gresham is the new Ring of Honor Pure Champion. And we also saw the debut of EC3 on this week's edition of Ring of Honor in a six-man tag match with the Briscoes taking on Shane Taylor and SOS. And EC3 and the Briscoes did lose that match. Now, from what I've heard, EC3 is pretty much done with Impact for the time being. So he is supposed to be finishing out the year with Ring of Honor. So be interesting to see where he's going to go from here with Ring of Honor. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on that. And I also read earlier today that the two top singles champions for Ring of Honor, Roosh, the world heavyweight champion, the world champion, and Dragon Lee, the television champion, should be at the next set of TV tapings. So they apparently they weren't able to travel, obviously, because of all the travel restrictions. They live in Mexico, so but that's why this whole last set of TV tapings was all about the Pure tournament. So word is that Roosh and Dragon Lee will be at the next set of TV tapings with the World and Television Championships. Moving on to Impact, we found out that Tennille Dashwood and Madison Rayne are going to be a team for the Knockouts Tag Team Tournament. And the way this came about was on Locker Room Talk, Madison Rayne's little talk show segment that she hosts with Johnny Swinger, of all people. But Tennille Dashwood and Jordan Grace were the guests on the show, and it looked for a minute like Jordan and Tennille might be forming a team, which I think would be a pretty good team, but it ended up being Tennille and Madison Rayne. So I don't think anybody can argue that those two fit very well together. So Madison Rayne and Tennille Dashwood are a tag team. Tommy Dreamer is investigating the shooting of Johnny Bravo, and he's got it narrowed down to 10 suspects. So I'm sure this is going to take a couple of weeks to figure out who actually pulled the trigger there. But it's basically, he's got it narrowed down to everybody who was at the wedding. So really not much progress made there. Let's see, some NWA news. Allison Kay announced that she is now a free agent. Apparently her NWA contract is up, and she is not wasting any time moving on from the NWA. She will, well, I guess technically moving on from the NWA, but not really, because she will be challenging Serena Deeb for the NWA World Women's Championship on the Full Gear kickoff show, the buy-in, tonight before the pay-per-view. So, even though Allison Kay is no longer part of the NWA, she is still challenging for the NWA Championship on an AEW show. Speaking of which, let's get into the AEW news for this week. First and foremost, apparently there will be an AEW video game announcement coming up on November the 10th. They've been putting that out on their social media channels, so definitely keep an eye out for that. I know I'm excited to hear about an AEW video game. We also found out that Cody now has his the rights to his name back, Cody Rhodes. He can now officially go by Cody Rhodes. I guess WWE gave up the trademark or didn't renew it or whatever it might be. So Cody does once again have the use of the Rhodes name. From Dynamite, MJF and Wardlow picked up the victory over Ortiz and Sammy Guevara. Yeah, pretty good tag team match between these four guys. MJF and Wardlow, like I said, took the victory. Team Taz came out, and that's Taz, Brian Cage, and Ricky Starks. Basically not happy about none of them having a match or any involvement in Full Gear coming up, even though Brian Cage is the number one contender for the World Championship. But they said they will be at the pay-per-view and will make their presence felt. So I'm sure they will be getting involved somehow, some way, somewhere during Full Gear coming up tonight. The Young Bucks picked up a victory over Private Party. After that match, FTR came out, attacked the Young Bucks again. They were going to, again, try to take out the leg of Matt Jackson until Kenny Omega and Hangman Page came down to the ring, and the two of them had a little bit of a face-off. Of course, they're facing each other at the pay-per-view. We had a promo from Pac, who we haven't seen on AEW TV in a few months. Kind of a disturbing, almost incoherent promo from him. I think that was the point. I mean, to just make him look kind of disturbed, like he's been in isolation all this time and he's kind of losing his mind. There was reference made about, the Death Triangle and Eddie Kingston saying to Pentagon and Phoenix, oh, where's your British friend, and things like that. So I'm interested to see what is going to go on with Pac when he is able to make his return to AEW. On the main event of Dynamite this past week, we had Cody and the Gun Club, Billy Gunn and Austin Gunn, picking up the win over the Dark Order. So going into the pay-per-view, let's run down the card here. Like I said, Allison Kay taking on Serena Deeb for the NWA Women's Championship on the buy-in show before the pay-per-view. I'm going to pick Serena Deeb to retain in this one. She just won that title a couple of weeks ago, and I don't see any reason to take it off of her. She's a veteran. She's great in the ring, and honestly, it's about time she got, a spot at the top of, as a champion. Orange Cassidy taking on John Silver. This was originally supposed to be on the buy-in show. It was moved to the main card once Serena Deeb and Allison Kay were added. I'm picking Orange Cassidy in this one. I mean, John Silver is, part of the Dark Order, but more or less of a kind of a comedy act himself, which I have no issue with. I find the Dark Order entertaining as hell. Don't think I'm like, crapping on John Silver or anything. I think it's going to be a good match, but I'm picking Orange Cassidy for this one. Chris Jericho taking on MJF. If MJF wins, he is allowed to join the Inner Circle. Hard to choose in this one. You've got the two top heels in the company pretty much going against each other. It could go either way. But I don't know. MJF, there's been some tension between MJF and Wardlow the last few weeks. So I don't know if Wardlow is necessarily going to turn on MJF quite yet, but he may have a hand in causing MJF to lose this match. So I'm going to pick Chris Jericho for this one and keep MJF out of the Inner Circle for the time being. For the AEW World Women's Championship, Hikaru Shida facing Nyla Rose. Nyla, of course, the one who Shida defeated for the AEW Women's title. I'm going to pick Shida to retain in this one. I don't know. I For some reason, I don't think they're going to put the title back on Nyla quite yet. It may end up in a disqualification on Nyla's side. She may kind of, lose it a little bit and go overboard and get herself disqualified. Who knows? But I'm picking Hikaru Shida to retain the AEW Women's Championship. The finals for the World Championship Eliminator Tournament, Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega, former tag team champions, going against each other. I got to pick Kenny Omega in this. As much as I want to pick Hangman Page, I mean, of the Elite, he is probably my favorite, in ring, and that's saying a lot because I love all of those guys. But I would love to see Hangman Page in the world title picture, but for some reason, the way Kenny Omega's been going lately, kind of finding himself again, getting his cleaner persona coming back a little bit. I got to go with Kenny Omega in this one to win the World Championship Eliminator Tournament. Then for the TNT Championship, Cody Rhodes taking on Darby Allin. This one, I am picking this match to steal the show first and foremost because Cody and Darby have wrestled before and they have just completely torn the house down. But I'm going to go with Darby Allin. It is time to give him a championship. I've said numerous times there are a handful of guys that are going to be the future of AEW, and Darby Allin is one of those guys. So, give him a shot with the TNT title and see what he can do with it. Hand him the ball and let him run with it because, Darby Allin is just phenomenal. Quite honestly, he's got great charisma. He's great in the ring. He's a little bit reckless. I mean, with some of his moves, that coffin drop is not something that is a sustainable finisher for a long career. But you can't argue with results. Darby Allin, one of the best in AEW right now, one of the most popular in AEW right now. So I'm picking him as the new TNT champion. For the World Tag Team titles, FTR defending against the Young Bucks, and the Young Bucks have kind of gone the Cody Rhodes route on this one, saying if they don't win, they will never challenge for the World Tag Team titles again. Based on that, I think that the Bucks are going to win the tag team titles in this one. I can't see them never having another title match. I mean, they're one of the best tag teams in the world. I don't care what anybody says about them. They're, the Bucks and FTR, arguably the two best tag teams in the world right now. So, I got to go with the Young Bucks. Matt Hardy taking on Sammy Guevara in the Elite Deletion match. I'm assuming this is going to be a cinematic match, possibly at the Hardy compound. Who knows? But this should be entertaining, if nothing else. I don't know if this is one of those matches where you're actually going to have a winner and a loser. If it's anything like the broken matches that we've seen before from Broken Matt Hardy. I don't know if you're going to have a clear-cut winner or loser, but I gotta go with Matt Hardy on this one. And then the main event for the AEW World Championship, an I Quit match between Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. This one is hard. This is hard because I'm a big fan of Eddie Kingston. I think everybody knows that. I mean, he's somebody that I've met and spent a little bit of time talking to. Hell, the guy bummed a cigarette off of me at StarCast last year. So, I got a soft spot for Eddie Kingston. He's an awesome guy. He's an awesome wrestler. And he's the best promo guy in wrestling right now. As far as an in-ring performer, don't get me wrong. I'm not discounting like people like Paul Heyman or Jake the Snake Roberts, but as far as wrestlers go, he is the best promo guy in wrestling right now. So I want to pick Eddie Kingston for this so bad because I'd love to see him get a world title run. But I don't know. I don't know if I see Moxley losing an I Quit match. For that matter, I don't know if I see Kingston losing an I Quit match. I don't see either one of these guys saying the words I quit. So this is very hard to call. So you know what? I'm gonna go with my gut on this one. I'm gonna say Eddie Kingston gets a run with the world title, even if it's just a brief one. I'm gonna say Eddie Kingston. I mean, he's damn sure earned it. With all the time he spent in wrestling and the stuff that he's done. Give Eddie Kingston a world title reign. Let him hold the belt for a month or something. Or hell, give it to him. Let him run with it. Let him see what the guy can do as a world champion. So and obviously the whoever wins this match is going to end up facing the winner of the Kenny Omega Hangman Page match. So, and I mean, we've seen Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley before. So, yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's hard, but I'm going to go with Eddie Kingston for the World Championship. I know I'm probably going to get burned on that one, but I'm going out on a limb. I want to see Eddie Kingston as a world champ. So, yeah, let me just run that back down real quick. I've got Serena Deeb retaining against Allison Kay, Orange Cassidy defeating John Silver, Chris Jericho defeating MJF, Hikaru Shida retaining against Nyla Rose, Matt Hardy defeating Sammy Guevara, the Young Bucks taking the tag titles off of FTR, Darby Allin taking the TNT title from Cody, Kenny Omega defeating Hangman Page for the finals of the World Title Eliminator Tournament, and Eddie Kingston winning the AEW World Championship from Jon Moxley. So, yeah, we'll see how these predictions go. I went out on a limb on a couple of them, I think, but, that's the thing I love about AEW, though. It's not so predictable because some of these matches are legitimately hard. It's hard to pick a winner. So, either way, it's going to be an awesome pay-per-view. This is an awesome match card, possibly the best pay-per-view card AEW's put together so far. So, we'll see how that one turns out later on tonight. So, that's going to do it for news and rumors and previews and predictions and results and all of that stuff for the week. So, I'm going to throw it over to Charlie G, and he is here with your Indie Cut.
Thank you, Tom, and hey to wrestling fans. I am Charlie G with your Indie Cut. We start with some indie news, and that is Alex Zane seems to be heading to the WWE with this match against Tony Deppen on Sunday for GCW So Much Fun. They have now promoted as his final indie match. It's a little bittersweet to say this, of course, since he was at Warrior Wrestling and was very cool to talk to, along with Benjamin Carter, but I guess WWE saw them both and want them on the roster. I can't blame them there. Nonetheless, all the best to Alex wherever he lands. I'm sure he will do great. Now on to wrestling action from Friday, October 30th, with Pro South Wrestling, Wicked Havoc from Piedmont, Alabama. For their YouTube title, they had an eliminational scramble match with champion Robbie VO defeating ERC, James Hardy, Roma Miller, Scott Patterson, Shane Mako, and Shane Christopher. And in their heavyweight title match, champion Tyler Culprit defeated Eric Silva. On to Level Up Blackout Backlot Boogie of Level Up Wrestling School from La Mesa, California. For their Ground Zero title, Hunter Freeman defeated champion Andy Brown to become new champion. Up to Real Canadian Wrestling Clash of Titans from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. For their British Commonwealth title, champion KB6 defeated Shane Martins and Sidney Steele. For the Canadian Heavyweight title, champion Heavy Metal defeated Cody Mack. And in their main event, it was Josh Alexander of the North defeating Nate Nixon. Down to CMLL, Dia del Muertos 2020. This was an interesting show, to say the least. For their Mexican National Women's title, champion Rina Isis defeated Luvia in a six-man tag. Angel de Oro, Forestero, and Nubia Roja defeated Silverano Jr., Negro Casas, and Titan, and a really good match between those six. Check that out if you can. And for the Rey del Inframundo title, El Terrible defeated Euphoria in a okay match. Then to October 31st, Saturday, 901 Wrestling was live on Twitch. Hope you check that out. They're from Memphis, Tennessee, and it looked like they were performing on a street corner of all things, because you could see the cars and the stop sign and everything behind them. Cool show. Glad they were back to do a show back in for 901 Wrestling. If you watch us on YouTube, you see I have Tommy Mac's Twitch feed there, so check that out if you can. We moved to Wrestling United Monsters Brawl from Franklin, Georgia. Nothing really big there. Then on to Kana Pro Wrestling Happy Halloween from La Mesa, California. In a three-way match, Ruby Reyes defeated Delilah Doom and Holidead. Mecha Wolf defeated Psycho Clown. So Psycho Clown even made it to California. And for their vacant Kana Pro title, Eli Everfly defeated Bestia 666. I'm sure that had to be a really cool show. Then over to H2O Wrestling Hardcore Hustle. Last Extravaganza weekend, day 2. Where G Raver, of all people, was back in action, defeating Marcus Mathers. In their Danny Havoc Hardcore title tournament, the semis were Bam Sullivan defeating Lucky 13, and Alex Colon defeating Lowlife Luli. For their ISW Undisputed King of Crazy title, which was vacant, Tara Calloway defeated Aiden Bale, Billy Avery, Devin Moore, Jimmy Lloyd, Kit Osborne, Mouse, and Oren Reed, Percy Drews, Raven Havoc, and Stockade. In a barefoot pit match, Neil Diamond Cutter defeated Jimmy Lyon. Then the Lone Rangers of Jeff Cannonball and Mitch Valen with Tony Deppen defeated the 44OH guys of Eric Ryan, Gregory Iron, and Ricky Shane Page. And then for the Danny Havoc Hardcore title final, it was Bam Sullivan defeating Alex Colon to become champion. Back up to Real Canadian Wrestling, Rise of Legends from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. There was a Bone Crusher Memorial Battle Royal when the winner was Barricade. For the British Commonwealth title, Halloween Horrors match, Nate Dixon defeated champion KB6 to become new champion. And in the Canadian Heavyweight title, champion Heavy Metal defeated Josh Alexander. So a busy weekend there. Over to Germany and Westside Extreme Wrestling, day 6. Block B match, Maris Ala N, who has 2 points now, defeated Emil Sticko, who has 0 points. Then on to Slam Wrestling Finland, Ragnarok and Wrestling 2020 Super Show from Estonia. For Mita Del Wrestling UE title, no DQ match. Starbuck defeated Fabio Fiera to become new champion. Then finally to Japan, where VKF Pro Wrestling took place, Halloween Havoc 2020. Surprised they can use Halloween Havoc's name. Where Chango, Psycho, and Shina Ishida defeated Strong Hearts of El Lindemann, Isia Anazaku, and Sugi. That's pretty much there. New Japan Road to Power Struggle Day 6 took place. Then down to Riot City Wrestling 218, A Nightmare on Colgan Street from Hinsmart, South Australia. For the Key to City qualifying match, Havoc defeated Katie, Trey, and Mike Boomer. And then there was Kit Condor defeating Tyler Daniels. So, interesting. There's a Key to the City for South Australia there. We moved to Sunday, November 1st, Without a Cause, Without a Crowd, number 1, from Everett, Washington. There was live on Twitch, so check that out if you can. I'm sorry I didn't do so. Yeah, nothing really big happened there. Oh yeah, All-American title. Drake Gallows defeated Malachi to become champion. Internet television title. Reven defeated Ryan Allen to become champion. There you go. Then on to AAA Auto Luchas from Mexico on Facebook Live. So this is a good show. Started off with Hades and La Parquita defeating Lady Maravilla and La Pica Negra. That was a good match. Lady Shani defeated Big Mommy and La Hydra. Really good match there. Carter Bravo Jr. and La Parca Negra defeated Dinastia and Maximo. Nice match. Laredo Kid defeated Mrs. C's Jr. and Octagon Jr. That was a really good match. And then there was Chessman defeating Tejano Jr. and Psycho Clown. That was a really good match as well. So nice to see AAA back in action. Setting up some matches for Triple which is set for December. No date yet, but Laredo Kid and Kenny Omega for the title. Hopefully that takes place. I will keep you updated if anything changes. Then to International Wrestling Revolution Group, Castillo del Terror, also Mexico. There was a mask versus mask terror cage match. I would love to see this. Capo del Norte and El Hijo del Brie and El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. and El Hijo del Espectacle. I should look this up better. I don't see a winner. Sorry about that. Check that out if you can on International Wrestling Revolution Group. Maybe you will know who the winner is. On to DDTU, Offenders Extrema. Also from Mexico, were Camouflage, Dr. Wagner Jr., and El Hijo del Especto defeated Crazy Boy, Khalith, and Pablo Marquez. Hope to see that soon. Over to 01, Autumn Flame Festival, Day 8. For the Fire Festival final match, Hartley Jackson defeated Tamiro Hayota. Wave Nami 1 took place. New Japan Road to Power Struggle Day 7 took place. Where for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Titles, champions El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru defeated Bushi and Hiromu Takahashi. And that was I like that match a lot, so check that out if you can. Goto Move Choco Pro 60 took place on YouTube, so you all can look that one up. Bar 45 Yoshi Pro Wrestling Festival B Hero Girls took place. Where Siri from Stardom defeated Rina Singaki. And then Arasa Nakajima with Tatsukasa Fujimoto defeated Izuki Aki and Risa Sera. Actress Girls 48 took place, where Miyuki Tokasi, who's champion, defeated Andres Miyagi. On to Monday, November 2nd, Westside Extreme Wrestling Day 7. Avalanche with 3 points defeated Hector Invictus. Went to a time limit draw. Sorry about that. Avalanche was 3 points, and Hector Invictus also has 3 points with the time limit draw. New Japan Road to Power Struggle Day 8. For the IWGP Tag Titles, Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr., who are champions, defeated Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi in a very long match, I might say. Pretty well. And at the end of the match, Toriano challenged Zack Sabre Jr. for a 4-corner, no pads match for his King of Pro Wrestling title. That show will be happening on the 7th, so check out Power Struggle if you can. You know where to find it if you want. On to November 3rd, Tuesday, UWN Primetime Live number 8, where Leo Rush defeated Fidel Bravo. I like that match a lot. And then here's a lot of changes. The original matches were supposed to be Eric the Redbeard, who's Eric Rowan, versus Watts, Carl Fredericks versus Fred Rosser, Davey Boy Smith versus Mike Bennett. Instead, we got Fred Rosser defeating Eric Redbeard. This is for the UWN World Title Tournament. There was Sean DeVrari, of all people, defeating Rocky Romero. And then Mike Bennett defeated Kevin Martinson. None of these names who didn't make the show were mentioned. So my guess is other companies have them now, and they cannot perform. So we will see where Watts, Dave Boy Smith, well, he's in MLW, so I guess he couldn't make it back in time, maybe. Carl Fredericks maybe had to go back to New Japan. I don't know. A lot of changes to that tournament, but still good matches nonetheless. Then over to Ohio Valley Wrestling 1108, where Jessie Belle Smothers, daughter of Tracy Smothers, defeated Rika Tahaka. So check that out. Check that match out if you can. Over to Stardom, Goddess of Stardom Tag League Day 7. These tag matches were really good. So we go to B. Priestley and Konami, who they have 5 points, defeating Stars of Hanan and Saya Ida. Natsuka Tora and Saki Kashima, who have 2 points, defeated Gokigen Death and Riho, who have 4 points. Julia and Makia, who have 4 points, defeated Mina Shirakawa and Tam Nakano, who also have 4 points. And then it was Mayu Iwatani and Starlight Kid, who have 4 points, defeating Himeka and Siri. Pure J Rainbow Dream took place, where the openweight title champion Leon defeated Ryan Dean Hagane. New Japan Road to Power Struggle Day 9 took place. Niigata Pro 9th Anniversary Wrestling took place. Just Tap Out in Nagoya, where T-Hawk defeated Cannon. And Arita, Tamuro Hoyota, and Tomeko Inabe defeated Ranabe, Ria Takura, and Takama Chinuko. Dragon Gate, the Gate of Destiny 2020, took place with a big attendance of 1,885. I'll just go to Open the Triangle Gate title, which was vacant, where Kazuma Sakamoto, Kento Kabun, and Takashi Yoshida defeated Naoki Doyle, Punch Tamanaga, and Raitsu Sumuzu to become the champions. And then opened the Dream Gate title match. Champion Eita, that's for your WrestleCast, defeated KZY. Then on to DDT Ultimate 20, Party 2020, my bad. This is a wild show, pretty much like close to the WrestleMania, where Aikido defeated Cinco Dino. Eruption defeated Disaster Box, Damnation, and El Lindeman's Antonio Honda, Makoto Oshii, and Super Sasango Machine. In a DDT Extreme Title Weapons Rumble match, Sanshiro Takagi defeated Shinaro Oki, who was champion, so Sanshiro's new champion. Shima teamed with Soma Tako, defeating Hiroshima and Nomichi Marufuji. DDT Universal Title match, Yuki Uno defeated champion Chris Brooks to become new champion. Then Jun Yakiyama defeated Kansuki Takashita. And then in the KO deed, open weight title, champion Tatsuya Endo defeated Daisuke Sasaki in an awesome match. Check that out if you can. You know to check out DJ Stream to find that match if you need to. Then to Wednesday, November 4th, Westside Extreme Wrestling Day 9. Minahan, who has 2 points, defeated Fast Time Mundo, who has 0 points. 0-1 Autumn Flame Festival Day 7 took place. Yeah, there's too much there. Seedling Grow Together took place, where Seedling Beyond the Sea title match, champion Yoshiko defeated Aja Kong. That had to be a really good match. Basra 137. That took place. Go to Moo Chaka Pro 61 took place on YouTube. Limitless The Road, number 3, where Kristen Casanova defeated Divine. And in the IWTV, the Mass Wrestler number 4, Stokely Hathaway Jr., who some already kind of know who he is, but I'll keep that as a surprise, defeating the Blue Sky, who was Trey Lamar. That was really cool to see that. Thursday, November 5th, West Side Extreme Wrestling Day 10. Senza Volta, who has 4 points, defeating Emil Sicko, still has 0 points. Freedom's Festival 2020 took place, where they had a fluorescent light tubes elimination death match. Where Daisuke Masaka, Takashi Sasaki, Tamura Hirata, and Toru Segura defeated Jun Kasai, Masi Takada, Minoru Fujita, and Rina Yamashita. Freedoms and 2AW had a joint show, so check that out. New Japan Road to Power Struggle Day 10 took place. Dragon Gate, the Gate of Evolution Day 2 took place. Then on to earlier today, Pro Wrestling Noah, where a 10-man tag of Momo Natsuro, of Atsushi Kateji, Daisuke Harada, Go Shiozaki, Junida Mikawa, and Kaito Kimura defeated Hoi, Katsuhiko Nakajima, Keno, Neo, and Tatsuki. So actually that's all it's for me. Check out Power Struggle, obviously taped from the 7th. Tokyo Yoshi Pro Princess show also on the 7th. I believe Stardom has a couple shows, and check out that GCW show on the 8th. You won't be let down, and see Alex Zane's last match against Tony Deppen in the Indies. So that's a wrap for me. Till next time, with all those updates, any other shows that come about, or news, don't forget to look at those Twitch streams and YouTube channels for other wrestling content. Take care of yourself, Kylie. We will miss you, but we understand. Thank you for watching or listening. Hope you enjoyed the cut on what will be a busy weekend, so enjoy Full Gear as well. I forgot about that. Stay safe, take care, and be kind, everyone. Back to you, Tom.
All right, thank you, Charlie. So now we are on to the final match of the first round of the CHS Faction Tournament, and that is, of course, part of the segment known as the Fantasy Booker. Alright, so the final match of the first round of the CHS Faction Tournament, we have got SoCal Uncensored, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky taking on the original Bullet Club. When I say the original, I'm talking about the founding members, Prince Devitt, also known as Finn Balor, Bad Luck Fale, Tama Tonga, and Carl Anderson. And the reason I use this particular grouping of the Bullet Club is because there have been so many members in and out of the Bullet Club over the years, but the Bullet Club has maintained and has been at the top of New Japan for a very long time, despite the loss of, some major players in Cody and Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and Marty Scurll and Hangman Page. They have maintained, and they have, brought in new people and managed to stay one of the top factions in New Japan. And it all started with Devitt, Fale, Tonga, and Anderson. And SCU, hey, what else can I say? It's my favorite tag team. They do the opening for my show. Some of the nicest guys I've ever met in person, especially Scorpio Sky, just totally awesome dude. If you ever get a chance to meet Scorpio Sky and talk to him, do it. He's just an amazing guy. But unfortunately, in this case, taking on the Bullet Club, I gotta go. I had to give this one to the Bullet Club because of everything that I said, how long they've maintained, and it all started with these 4 guys, and the Bullet Club is still going strong despite like I said, the loss of some major players and everything like that, and SCU now not really the cohesive unit that it used to be pre AEW or really since they've lost those AEW tag team titles. Scorpio Sky's kind of struck out on his own a little bit. Christopher Daniels has more of a backstage role. Frankie Kazarian's doing his thing. They still have tag team matches. They're still SCU, but it's not not the same as it used to be. So in this particular matchup, SCU and the Bullet Club, I gotta give the advantage to the Bullet Club. So moving on to the second round of the tournament so far, we've got the 4 Horsemen, Degeneration X, the Hart Foundation, the Freebirds, the Elite, the Dangerous Alliance, the Radicals, and the Bullet Club. So we will get started with that second round next week, and the first matchup will be the 4 Horsemen versus DX. Another great matchup. Could be a controversial outcome. Who knows? So we'll see what happens with that next week. So moving into the final part of the show here, where I give a not so popular opinion most of the time, and I'm talking about the weekly hot take. So my hot take for this week: the Young Bucks stole my music. And I'm kidding, guys. This is all tongue in cheek. It's a joke. But if you guys heard the little clip of music that I use for the segue into the weekly hot take, if you watch Being the Elite, the last several weeks, segments with the Young Bucks where we've been seeing kind of their change in attitude, where they're super kicking everybody and things like that, they use the exact same song. Now the song is public domain. It's part of the YouTube music library. It's called The Fiery Furnace. But I just thought, what are the odds out of the thousands of songs that are in the YouTube music library, they pick that one? It's like I said, obviously it's not my song. It's in the YouTube music library. But it's like I was catching up on Being the Elite yesterday, and I wasn't looking at the screen at that particular moment, but I hear the song start playing. I'm like, are they listening to my show? What the hell? That's the weekly hot take music. So I'm not a hot take at all, really, but I just I thought it was pretty cool. They're using the same music as me. I don't think I inspired it. They didn't steal it from me or anything like that. Like I said, it's all tongue in cheek. But so the Young Bucks using my weekly hot take song for Being the Elite for their segments where we're seeing their change in attitude. So but yeah, I actually thought that was pretty cool. So it is what it is. So I guess me and the Young Bucks, or maybe I don't know if it's Brandon Cutler who chooses that stuff and puts it all together, but somebody on Being the Elite has the same taste in music as I do. So thought that was pretty cool. And so to wrap up the show this week, I wanted to talk a little bit about something that, kind of a sad moment for me, and for a lot of wrestling fans, I'm sure. Kylie Ray put out last week on her Patreon that basically announced that she's no longer a professional wrestler and is stepping away from social media for a while. And I think everybody knows by now she was supposed to go for the Impact Women's Championship at Bound for Glory. She wasn't there. Su Yung took her place. Su Yung is now the Knockouts champion. But, nobody was sure what was going on with Kylie, if it was part of a storyline that she wasn't there or if something was going on with her. And, it's well known, Kylie doesn't keep it a secret that she does, suffer from mental health issues, anxiety, depression, that kind of thing, which I can relate to. I suffer from the same things myself. I'm not ashamed to admit it. Nobody should be ashamed to admit it. I know what I deal with is nothing, nowhere near to the degree that some people deal with it. Kylie just, like I said, made the announcement on her Patreon that she is stepping away, and she's no longer a professional wrestler, which it's not the first time that she has stepped away from the business and from social media. Hopefully she's able to get herself back to a good place and come back, because it's honestly, it is a huge loss to pro wrestling, and to the fans, if she is in fact retired, which, obviously that's her choice to make. I'm not, saying she has to come back or anything like that. That's not mine or anybody else's place other than Kylie's to make that decision. But, if she comes back, I will be the first one jumping for joy to see her back in the ring. And if she doesn't come back, and I put this on social media, whatever the future holds for Kylie Rae, I know I speak for myself and for Charlie and for anybody who's ever had the privilege to see Kylie wrestle. Whatever her future holds, we wish her nothing but the absolute best, because that is what she deserves. I have had the absolute honor of sponsoring one of Kylie's matches at Warrior Wrestling. I've had the privilege of calling her matches at Warrior Wrestling, and Charlie and I both have had the privilege of meeting Kylie in person and getting to talk to her on just a normal human level, not even a wrestling level, just to talk to her for even a minute or two. And she is without a doubt the nicest, sweetest, most humble human being I have ever encountered. And she's genuine. The first time that I met Kylie in person was when Charlie and I were setting up at a Warrior show, and this was, I believe, Warrior 7 or Warrior 8. I don't remember exactly which one, but it was while they were still able to have indoor shows. And Charlie and I are getting our table set up to do our broadcast, and I see out of the corner of my eye somebody walking up to us, and I turn around and it's Kylie, and she walked up to us and introduced herself by her shoot name, and shook our hands, and stood and talked to us for a couple of minutes. And who does that? Who are we? We're a couple of podcast guys, sitting there calling an indie show, and Kylie comes up and says hi to us and introduces herself, and she's just the most awesome person you ever want to meet. And from that day on, I was already a fan of Kylie at that point. From that day on, she became my absolute favorite wrestler in the world. And just because she's, like I said, she's very genuine and just one of the nicest people you ever want to meet. And so, like I said, whether this is a permanent thing to where she is done with pro wrestling, or whether she comes back at some point, whatever the future holds, myself, Charlie, the show, catchhookshoot, we wish Kylie Rae nothing but the absolute best in whatever she chooses to do from here on out. So I wanted to make mention of that because, Kylie, like I said, Kylie is my absolute favorite. It's just one of my favorite people, honestly. Not even wrestler, just one of my favorite people. So, nothing but the best for Kylie Ray. So with that is going to wrap up the show for this week. I want to thank everybody once again for watching, listening, and subscribing on YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, Pandora, wherever you get your podcasts from. Make sure you follow on social media on all platforms. You can find the show at catchhookshoot. Head to patreon.com/catchhookshoot for bonus content, prowrestlingtees.com/catchhookshoot for t-shirts, catchhookshoot.bigcartel.com for t-shirts and hats you won't find on Pro Wrestling Tees, and the email, as always, is catchhookshoot@gmail.com. So with that, I'm going to wrap things up. Hope everybody enjoys Full Gear tonight and all of the wrestling coming up this week. Stay safe, wear your mask, wash your hands, do all of that good stuff. Have a great week, and I will talk to you guys soon.